Good morning. Thank you, Alisa, for that gorgeous rendition of Morning is Broken. Welcome, welcome to the Love Stream from the Temple of Light, Kingston, Jamaica. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful morning. And for those who are not experiencing the perfect sunshine that we have, the sunshine of your soul, I'm sure, is radiating in and around you. Please join me in an affirmative prayer this morning. The dawning of a new day. We recognize that power and presence in our midst, God, living Spirit Almighty. That presence of power that allows each one of us as perfect expressions of its light, its love, and its joy, to sense and know that right where we are, all of God is. And as we experience that oneness of mind, spirit, and body, I know that that sense of assurance that all is right in our world of affairs streams forth in our consciousness, blessing the holy ground where each one of us occupy. I am the Lord thy God, right where we are. So I know this morning, as our sanctuary is filled with that consciousness of oneness, I know for Rev John, our speaker, I know for our singer, I know for all our congregants here with us, face-to-face as well as in the virtual cyberspace, that realization that we are one with love, one with light, one with joy. And it's that message we all broadcast into the ethers, lifting each and every individual on the face of this earth plane. So in this moment, love. Love abounds, grace fulfills, and we are in the everlasting arms of all that is. unlimited, extraordinary, beautiful, each one of us. And this is what we pour right now into the universe. Indeed, all is well in our lives and affairs. This is the truth about this morning, as it is the truth for each and every individual on this face of this plane of existence. I release my word with thanksgiving to that law that manifests a glorious experience for each one of us now. This is the truth, and I know that it is so, and so it is. Our inspirational reading this morning is from Richer Living, authored by Raymond Charles Barker and our Dr. Ernest Holmes, all New Thought, and very especially Dr. Holmes, who is the founder of our teaching, The Science of Mind and Spirit. The reading is August 19th, and the title is I Am God's Unlimited Creation. God is never limited by his creation. Omnipresence, omnipotence, and omni-action are the eternal processes of spirit. An unlimited God could only create an unlimited man. And I am that man now. My only foes are those of my own mentality. The universe is for me, and it wants me to succeed. I now assume my rightful place in God's universe and move forward to my own success in life. There are no limits placed upon me by the divine mind, and I now free myself of my own limited thinking. I refuse to accept boundaries of success, for all of God is before me, and all his intelligence acts through me. Today, unlimited good is my experience, because the unlimited ideas of infinite mind fill my consciousness. Every barrier is destroyed and every door opens. The divine plan of my life unfolds with ease, for there is nothing to prevent it. Increased good appears on every hand, and I use it with wisdom. I am the free expression of an unlimited creator. I am the free expression of an unlimited creator. Could you join with me in that affirmation? I am free expression of an unlimited creator. And so it is. That is indeed empowering. So from that statement of affirmative good in our world and affairs, let us sing together our praise song, which is on the screen now, and it's on page 3 in the program for those in the sanctuary with us. I praise the wealth of God. Please stand if you are at home. Stand up, man.
I'm so blessed.
Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. I'm so blessed, which is even better still. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so Please sit. Thank you. I appreciate this part of the service when we light the youth candle, sending a blessing to all the youth in all the world and the youthful aspect of ourselves, for those who are older than X. But anyway, together let us bless our young people. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute you.
Christ in you. We
See
see
you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now, and so it is. We have our mission song now, and the energy. Can we? It's on the screen.
The temple of light, the
temple of light.
We are a people with a vision, one in spirit,
on a mission to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us anytime, night or day.
the temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in
Spirit on a mission
to touch, to heal,
to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us anytime, night or day.
Since we're on our feet, can we just say the prayer of our center now, please, together? The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community, from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate, to touch,
to
heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. Wow. We caught up. And now we'll have our announcements. Do we have any first-time guests worshiping with us this very special morning? Whether you're in the sanctuary with us or online, welcome to our hearts and definitely welcome to our beautiful Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, Kingston, Jamaica. We trust you will come again and again to share your consciousness with us. We continue to live stream every Sunday at 9 a.m. and Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. The recording is also available later on YouTube for both events. The schedule of our temple activities is also posted online on the Temple of Light Facebook page. This morning, we'll join Angela Elliott for our Wisdom Circle at 10:30 in our sanctuary as we continue our reading of Ernest Holmes's and Walter Kinnear's A New Design for Living. Monday morning, when you're just barely turning over. Well, we have something that will help you to stand up. Join Rev John in quiet moments in the garden at 6 a.m. for a refreshing and insightful early morning pickup for the beginning of the week. So look out for it tomorrow at 6 a.m. Class is one of the ways that you can learn about our teaching. On Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., Rev John Scott, in an in-person class titled Ignite Your Life with Bible Wisdom, is available at the temple. Anything you want to know about Bible, you come. Please call our office. It's a really interesting class. And at 7 to 9:30 p.m. on Thursday evenings, Rev Ann Shand and Sonia Davidson has an exciting class, The Lazarus Blueprint. And coming up Tuesday, October 5th, also at 7 to 9:30 on Zoom, Reverend Michael Record will be facilitating Shortcut to a Miracle, based on the book by Elizabeth Arrott. All interesting classes, please join us. Training for trainers, for those persons who wish to activate that avenue of their expression, starting this Saturday, October 9th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., Rev John Scott will be conducting training for trainers, a 10-week in-person learning experience. Topics include understanding the principles of applied learning, getting and holding students' attention, and activating the spiritual power of imagination. Wonderful avenue of expression for those educators and those who are wishing to do motivational series. It's really something that you should attend. And to register for all these classes and to obtain the Zoom links, kindly visit classes.templeoflightcsl.org. I'll repeat that again. classes.templeoflightcsl.org. The contribution per class, it's $1,200 for registered members and $1,600 for interested persons. If you wish to attend a Sunday service, kindly collect a pass from the office on Mondays to Fridays before 3 p.m. If you feel moved to support our ministry, kindly visit our donate page, DONATE, that's donate.templeoflightcsl.org. And it has all our banking details, donate.templeoflightcsl.org. Thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in this world. We continue to respond with prayer to the challenges of this very special time. A practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following our Sunday service. On duty this morning is Reverend Sonia Davidson, and the number to call is 876-289-0907. And if you wish to speak to a minister from Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. to 12 midnight, please call 876-289-0907. And at this point, I'd love to call Chair Sandra Cooper to give us an update on our Thriving Ministry initiative.
Good morning, friends. It is my pleasure to bring to you the update from the Thriving Ministry Council. And I'm doing this morning without my glasses, so bear with me. Changed handbags and left them in the other handbag. Top of the list this month is the strategy update. You might recall that we presented the strategic direction of the temple at our extraordinary general meeting back in July. Now, the first draft of the Temple of Light strategy document is complete. And it has been sent to the 6 innovation teams for review. And those teams, as a reminder, are curriculum development and delivery, and that is for our teaching and learning ministry. Our vibrant youth ministry to attract, retain, and develop our young people as the leaders of tomorrow. Our tech action team, facilitating communication and connectivity through technology. Our Temple of Light property trailblazers for income generation and sustainability. Governance for organizational integrity, structure, and order. And the final one, culture, spelled C-U-L-C-H-A, which is the consciousness and that magnetic energy and vibe of our temple. Now, the completed document will be presented at our annual general meeting, scheduled for Sunday, November 28th this year. Once the strategy is approved, the next step will be to create the budget and implementation plan. Now, why is this taking so long, you might ask? Seeing that it was around October, last time this year that we got it going with the Summit 2020. Well, the answer lies in our commitment to ensure that all the inputs and the needs of our stakeholders are met. Now, who are our stakeholders? Every member, congregant, visitor, every young person, our staff, and others who are associated with, interested in, and are a part of the wonderful spiritual community that we know as the Temple of Light. In the meantime, we are not waiting around for the document to be complete. We are going for the low-hanging fruit, that is, projects that we can begin to implement right away. And one such fruit is the expansion of consciousness proposed by the Culture Innovation Team. And it's also stated in our value of abundance and embraced by the Raising Consciousness Quadrant. And that is manifesting as the 12-week Prosperity Adventure. Now, that program will be brought to you from January 12th to March 30. We announced it last week, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about it. And it is designed to raise consciousness around wealth, money, and abundance, while providing the spiritual principles, beliefs, and practical techniques that are the foundation of sustained prosperity. Now, we invite you to support this program by making it a gift to yourself or a loved one. We've really reduced the price so that it is affordable to all. Proceeds will go towards the growth of the youth ministry and the strengthening of the information and communication technology of the temple. And speaking of the youth ministry, our call for someone with social media and marketing expertise led us to our own Ifashani Dehaney, and she has agreed to assist in the promotion of our 12-week prosperity adventure, as well as in boosting our social media presence in general. Isn't that wonderful? Ifashani is not here, but let us applaud her. Kudos to you, Ifashani. We look forward to hearing and benefiting from your expertise. I mean, I really see this temple moving. Those who have gone before us left it for us, and we are going to be passing the baton on to Ifashani and her team. Now, with regards to the quadrants, now the work of the quadrants is, I know for sure, going to skyrocket once the strategic plan is ready for implementation. In the meantime, we would like to congratulate Miss Idel Brown. I haven't seen her this morning, but Idel, congratulations to you as the new chair of the organization quadrant. Idel takes over. Idel takes over from Theo Smith, who will continue to serve the quadrant and share the expertise, his expertise in a different capacity. So that's about it for our update. Remember that there are many ways that you can serve, and I invite you to reach out and see how you can use your heart and your hands to, in service of the temple. The TMC thanks each and every one of you for your support, and we look forward to having you join us on our onward journey of transformation. Have a blessed and beautiful week.
Thank you, Sandy. Exciting times ahead for our temple family. This concludes the announcements. Please join us in the singing of our first hymn, I Praise the Wealth of God, which is on page 3 for those in the sanctuary, and for those virtual, it's on the screen. Let us stand and sing this with all the meaning. I praise the wealth of God.
I praise the wealth of God, His lavish good I sing. It flashes from the barren twig and shines in everything. I sing, I sing, I sing, I sing. My joy shall know no bound. His glory like a dazzling ray. Illuminates the ground. I sing the wealth of God. It stays not in the sod, nor dwells alone in sea and air. Its goodness everywhere. I sing, I sing, I sing, I sing. My joy shall know no bound. Its glory like a dazzling ray. Illuminates the ground. The floor I daily tread, the roof above my head, the walls I touch with startled sight, are shimmering with light. I sing, I sing, I sing. My joy shall know no bound. His glory like a dazzling ray. Illuminates the ground. Oh, blind and woe be gone. This earth is now His throne. Give up your grief, your voices raise, and praise and praise and praise. I sing, I sing, I sing. My joy shall know no bound. His glory like a dazzling ray. Illuminates the ground.
Ah, yes.
Amen.
You see, when I get ahead of myself to sing that hymn, I really love it. Okay. I sing of the glories of God. And this morning, one of the gifts that we have in this temple is our beloved pastor, Rev John Scott, who is going to, just wow us this morning with homework too, but we still continue on this journey. Reverend John, let me invite you now to the podium to enrich our lives.
Good morning, worldwide spiritual family.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I've never thought of myself as a gift, but I love the idea. Give me away. Give me all away. Just take all of me, all that I have, all that I am, are yours, are for you. So take it. You know, my friends, the world is in a panic. Should I say again? This time over the effects of the pandemic on the economics of countries big and small. And when people are in a panic, they tend to act irrationally and often selfishly, thinking of their own well-being and their own welfare and their own survival. And so we have stories of so-called developing countries who have stockpiled vaccines far beyond what they need to supply their populations with, while other countries who need vaccines go without, and thousands of people needlessly lose their lives. Here in Jamaica, dependent as we are on the importation of much of life's necessities, we are witnessing the cost of living skyrocketing as well. And it's gone to new heights. There are people who are out of work, and other people are in a panic too because they're wondering how they will make ends meet. But you know, worry about inflation and the high cost of living is not a 21st century phenomenon. Over 2.5 millennia ago, the prophet Haggai, in Haggai chapter 1, verse 6, wrote, and I quote, "He who earns wages to put them into a bag with holes," unquote, in the Bible, all the way back then. And I know that many people today are thinking, boy, I feel like my finances are in a bag with holes. And the caretaker in my complex here in Jamaica where I live, who is my kind of guru and my sounding board for the on-the-ground feelings of people, said to me, you know, General, in January, $10,000 would have filled 2 shopping bags. We can carry one in each hand and go home. Last week ago, and $10,000 only filled 1 bag. He feels like his money, as Haggai said, has been put into a bag with holes. And so on every hand, from every quarter, we are being bombarded with stories of lack, limitation, and scarcity. So my friends, it is really time for those of us in truth to use the powerful tools we have at our disposal and to start affirming God's unlimited abundance. So I've titled today's encouragement, "You are God's unlimited creation." The responsive reading, the inspirational reading that Rev Ann shared this morning had the quotation, "I am the free expression of an unlimited creator." And she had us say that together. Can we say that? I am the free expression of an unlimited creator. So if you feel like your finances are in a bag with holes, I want to just remind you of the invitation Sandra Cooper made in her Thriving Ministry update a while ago. And it is our 12-week prosperity adventure, which is scheduled to begin in January 2022. It will give you the spiritual tools for attaining and sustaining financial freedom. And this is not a get-rich-quick course, my friends. It is a spiritual exercise designed to teach you how to achieve a sense of spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being, which, by the way, is the original meaning of the word wealth. To be wealthy is to have a sense of spiritual well-being. And while we are on the meaning of words, did you know that the word prosperity comes from a Latin word which means to go forward with hope? So as we come out of this, and hopefully we're coming out, of this special time in the history of humankind, there is a need for us as purveyors of truth to use our consciousness to carry us forward and everybody with whom we come into contact with hope. With hope and with the certain assurance that prosperity really is an attitude toward life. You know, when you think of prosperity, you think of money. But really, it is if you take a holistic picture of your life, you begin to see where there are holes, not just in the bag that you put your money, but holes in your consciousness, holes in your belief system that need to be stopped up. Because, you know, I was writing this talk and I could hear that little voice in my head saying, you think money grow up on a tree? Well, how many of us carry that? You know, you wanted a new dolly when you were a little girl. And where am I to get it from? Said your caregiver, your mom. And it wasn't done with any malice. It was done to try and give us an understanding of the value of things. I gave you one last year for Christmas, and right now it don't have no head, and it missing one arm and one foot. You don't carry your things. So there you go again, another message being imprinted in your 6-year-old subconscious. I'm not worthy. I don't care things. And when I want more, where am I to get it from? Where you think? You think money grow up on trees? I got a beating because I said yes. Because I heard my aunt selling her avocado pears. I think it was a shilling at the time per pear. How much for an avocado nowadays? So the universe is expanding. Eric Butterworth, who authored a book titled Spiritual Economics, which I wish our financial pundits would read and digest, had this to say about prosperity, and I quote, "The starting point in realizing prosperity is to accept responsibility for your own thoughts, thus taking charge of your life. You are not responsible for what is said in the Wall Street Journal or what comes out of Washington in the form of economic indicators. But you are very much responsible for what you think about those things. You cannot afford to let the so-called experts decide how you are going to think and feel. For how you think and feel about the economy in general and your financial affairs in particular will unvaryingly determine what you experience." End of quote. And then Butterworth quotes Jesus the Christ, "It is done unto you as you believe." You know, in his book, this thing called You, Ernest Holmes, who gave the world this great teaching, writes, and I quote, "When Jesus said it is done unto you as you believe, he not only announced the law of faith, he explained how it works. For he implied that there is a law which operates upon your faith." And Butterworth explains that spiritual law works just like any other law. It is universal. Holmes says that when you think about law and the way it works, take the law of gravitation, he gives us an example. The law of gravitation works. You don't have anything to do with the law of gravitation, except that when you put something in one spot, the law of gravitation holds it there. You ladies that like to move things around the house, so you leave home your husband leave home this morning and the bed is in this part of the room, and he comes home this evening and the bed is way across in the other side and turned the other way. The law of gravitation has held the bed in place. I hope it holds the husband in place too. But so Holmes says that law works for you on the scale of your own individual being. The law works for you on the scale of your own individual being. So it is for this reason, my friends, that we need to refrain from referring to the economy as declining and to avoid conversations about the high cost of living. Instead, we should form the habit of thinking and speaking and contemplating the abundance of God's good that is everywhere equally, evenly present throughout the universe. God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply. Can we say that? God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply. So, Butterworth suggests that we take frequent consciousness boosters. I call them God pauses throughout the day, and just stop and affirm your oneness with the universal substance, which is forever flowing. Here's another one he gave. I establish myself in the limitless substance of God, and I have abundance. I establish myself in the limitless substance of God, and I have abundance. Can we say that? I establish myself in the limitless substance of God, and I have abundance. And this morning, as I was doing my morning spiritual practice, this one came to me. I am a man of substance. So you can say that. You can say I'm a woman of substance, or if you are gender fluid and prefer to use the non-binary, you could say I am a person of spiritual substance. Can we say it together, whichever we feel moved to? I am a man of spiritual substance. Oh, I'm a man of substance. You know, when we talk about somebody being a person of substance, what we mean? Yeah. Reverend Michael says this way too, substance this way. But I am talking about substantial consciousness of the good things of life. My friends, everything that is created from this undifferentiated substance. And our beliefs form the molds into which the universe pours this substance to produce everything in our world, both our experiences and our finances. My favorite story about how this substance works and how it flows for us or not is found in 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 to 7. And I think you all may know this story very well. It's about a distressed widow who has been left destitute by the death of her husband. And she's in a big problem because under Talmudic law, her creditors have to be paid. And if they are not, she has to give her 2 beloved sons to work as slaves for the creditors until the last farthing is paid. Can you imagine a Jamaican widow saying to Elisha the prophet, "Do help me, do. My husband dead and leave me with a whole heap of debt, and I'm going to take me 2 picnic. Do help me, what me must do." And Elisha asked her a very interesting question. He said, "Oh, what you having at the house? What do you have in the house?" You know what she replied? "I only have 1 pot of oil." Or if she's a Jamaican, I only have a pot of oil, you know. I only 1 pot of oil may have. Lord have mercy, what me must do? I coined the phrase a few Sundays, a few encouragements ago, ungleness. I ungle have this and I ungle have that, and him ungle give me 2 pair and him 3 full of pair. Some of us have cultivated the consciousness of ungleness. But you see, that response indicates her sense of not having, her consciousness of lack. And friends, the pot of oil was evidence of God's substance. And in my mind, when I think of that story, I think of those big Spanish jars that we have, big earthenware jars, full of olive oil. So that was evidence of God's substance. But if you have a deep-seated belief in lack and limitation and insufficiency, because money don't grow upon trees and you have carried that from you were 6 years old, even what you have becomes a symbol of lack to you. And that is what the work we need to do to change our belief in lack and limitation to a belief in God's abundance. Can we see what we have as evidence of God's good in our lives? So Elisha advised the widow to borrow additional vessels from the neighbors, and she did. And as she began to pour, what happened? The oil flowed freely, filling every pot. And I'm smiling because it's either my bad typing or because the computer thinks it knows more than me. But when I typed, as she began to pour, the computer wrote, as she began to pout. You know how many of us, even when we make up our mind to bless what we have, look at somebody else and pout. Or how she have so much, look how hard me work. You know, a lot of us got that kind of hole punched into our consciousness too, you know, that anybody who has anything worthwhile must have got it by some kind of devious means. You know, so if you see a young girl driving a BMW, she have a sugar daddy. It doesn't occur to you that she may have toiled night and day at law school to get her degree, or at medical school to get her BBS? No? You think the only way you can acquire a BMW and live the good life is by trading your favors? Yeah, there you go. So, and I saw it go. And I sank in our sink so, my friends. We need to cultivate this law in our lives, the law of God's abundance. And when her idea of the possibilities expanded, because she put all these pots, these containers into which the universe could pour its substance, the oil flowed. This is a wonderful lesson on the ability of the universe to supply all that we are able to conceive, my friends, as much as you have the consciousness to receive. In her inspiring presentation on our Lifeline program last Thursday evening, Temple of Light member Sanita Moran Burris, who we have the pleasure of having her and her husband with us this morning. Welcome, Sanita and Johnny. In her presentation on Lifeline, Sonita shared many, many examples of how, guided by Reverend Elmer Lumsden, and in the years following, this teaching known as the Science of Mind and Spirit enabled her to provide the vessels into which the universe could pour the oil of her desires, her dreams, her wishes, her aspirations, to make her the success that she is. And if you didn't see it last Thursday evening, watch it. Watch the recording on YouTube and on Facebook. And I'm saying this because when Sandra was sharing her invitation to the 12-week prosperity program, and when I mentioned it, many of you may be thinking, you know, I'd really like to do that, but where am I to get the 50% down payment from? And so I wanted to share with you a big lesson I learned from Reverend Emma Lumsden, our founder, as well. And when Sunita was talking last Thursday, I thought about it. Somebody asked Reverend Elmer where we were going to get the money from to pay for the 300 beautiful shares she had purchased for our sanctuary. And she said, where am I to get it from there? From wherever it is in the universe. Where are you to get what you want, my friends? You are to get it from wherever it is in the universe. And it is there. So in her book, Lessons in Truth, New Thought luminary Emily Cady puts it this way, quote, one of the unerring truths of the universe is that there is already provided a lavish abundance for every human need. Another truth is the demand must be made before the supply can come forth to fill it. The demand must be made before the supply can come forth to fill it. I think of Jesus' beautiful Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 7 and verse 7, when he says, "Ask, and it shall be given unto you." And my friends, that asking that Jesus spoke about wasn't being on your knees, begging and beseeching and pleading with the universe to give you what you don't have. Because you see, if you do that, the message you are giving to the universe is that you don't have it. And the universe, the law that we're talking about, obeys you perfectly. It says, you think you don't have it? You don't have it. So when we ask, that asking means making a claim upon what already exists, because you have a deep belief that as a son or daughter, as a creation of this unlimited creator, you have a divine right to have all the good that you can envision and that you could possibly want, enough to share and to spare and to make your life what Jesus the Master called the life more abundant. And just like the law of gravitation, it doesn't care where you were born, what your background is, what your gender is, how old you are. It doesn't care about anything. The law works for everyone the same way. So I'm going to share something with you which may be an elephant in the room. It's something we don't talk about very much, but it's a surefire technique that will powerfully, permanently, and perpetually ensure that you are in the flow of divine substance. And the secret that I'm going to give you, it's an open secret. It's not a secret at all. It's a powerful truth. It is the spiritual practice of tithing. Now, tithing means giving 1/10 of your earnings to where you are spiritually fed, to the person or place which nourishes your spiritual growth and your spiritual aspirations for a closer walk with God. And a lot has been written for or against it. Some people don't like the term and prefer to call it my contribution. The universe doesn't really care what you call it. The universe doesn't speak any one language. But I want to tell you the honest truth. Nobody knows how or why it works. They don't know. It's an ancient practice that goes all the way back to biblical times. And what I do know is that in my 18 years as a minister, I have never met anyone who is a consistent tither who has a problem with cash flow and money. And I use the word consistent advisedly, because in my own experience, and I can tell you I'm preaching to myself here, if you give sporadically, if you give sometimes and then months and months pass and you don't give nothing, and then one morning your head take you and you give a huge amount, the universe responds to you in exactly the same way. You give sporadically, you will find that your finances come to you, the inflow of money substance to you comes just as sometimishly, as we say in Jamaica, just as sporadically. So it's the consistency of giving that is so important to establish in the law. And it's true of everything, you know. You see, tithing it's a choice you make to do a practice, just like you choose to go to the gym or you choose to fast. I've recently taken up the habit of fasting, what they call intermittent fasting. I don't eat after 3 p.m. Till breakfast next morning. It's a choice. It's a discipline, a physical discipline, and for me, a spiritual exercise that has resulted in my weight balancing out. So tithing is the same thing. It's not something you have to do. It is a contract you make with yourself to acknowledge God as the source of your life and your being and your well-being. Friends, the spiritual approach to economics, and indeed to every other facet of human existence, is the solution to the issues that humanity is facing. Begin today to see yourself as a distributing center of God's good. And I talk about the distributing center because a lot of times when we are trying to plug the hole into which we put our earnings, we are looking to get. But the law of prosperity, the law of wealth, meaning the law of well-being, is the law of circulation. Just like you can't breathe in and hold it. And your blood must circulate. So start to think about your prosperity as God's good, God's infinite substance in circulation. And so it's not just coming to you, it is flowing through you in a ceaseless and endless circulation that blesses everyone with whom your money substance that you have passed out into the universe comes. And so I think about that even too if I'm paying utility bills. Wow, I'm so happy to be able to do this because it's paying somebody's school fees. It's buying some kids' tablet so that they can do online learning. I just think about myself as being a conduit for God's good to bless the world. You know, throughout history, the spiritually enlightened have likened prosperity to righteousness. You can think of that as right-useness. But you see, the admonition in Matthew 6:33 to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, means that you should cultivate the right use of the divine law, which is a law of circulation in your business and your personal dealings. It is a call for us all to stand firmly on the prosperity principle that right where we are, waiting for us to provide it, to provide the containers for our good, is the substance of God, the living Spirit Almighty. And you know, my friends, those containers are not just containers, purses and bank accounts. Those containers are the love that we share, the tithes that we give, the sense of community that we build when we get together in spiritual sangha on a Saturday morning, spiritual community, either on a Sunday morning, either here in the temple or online. Those are all containers into which the universe pours the undifferentiated substance of the Almighty to create greater and greater good in our lives. Haggai's response to the problem of the economy in Haggai chapter 1 verse 8 was to, and I quote, "Go up to the hills and bring wood and build the house." Go up to the hills and bring wood and build the house, unquote. Metaphysically, going up to the hills means seeking the silence within. And of course, houses, when you read it anywhere in spiritual literature, and particularly in the Bible, refer to your consciousness. So go within into the sanctuary of your own being and build in your consciousness the deep, deep belief that you are a distributing center of God's good. That house, the house of your consciousness, needs to be maintained just as you maintain your own physical home. You know, you don't leave it for weeks and weeks without dusting or cleaning or tidying. You keep your physical house in order. And that is true of the house of your consciousness as well. In conclusion, practitioner Steve Golding shared a quotation from Ernest Holmes' book, This Thing Called Life, which was published in 1943. And since that is the year I was born, I want to share it with you. It's titled, The Pearl of Great Price. Please listen with your heart. Holmes uses for his epigraph a line from Henry David Thoreau, quote, "Let nothing stand between you and the light." Let nothing stand between you and the light. And then he writes, "The power of life within you is a spiritual power, able to bring to you permanent peace increased happiness and joy, and greater material abundance. These things that have made man miserable and unhappy, or those things that have made man miserable and unhappy, can be eliminated through the consciousness, the conscious use of this power. God could not visit fear or hate or impoverishment upon us because God must be just the opposite to all those things. It is then really necessary that the world should have a new concept of God. A new idea must be born in the minds of men about the nature of God and their relationship to the divine creative spirit. Holmes continues that if you knew the creative energy of the universe were at your disposal, and the same power which made everything is flowing through you, would you not naturally feel that you possessed the pearl of great price? If you knew how to use this power, would you not feel that you were on the verge of a new experience, wonderful and limitless in its possibility? Would you not have a new hope and enthusiasm about living? End of quote. My friends, you are God's unlimited creation. If this resonates with you, please affirm, I am God's unlimited creation. Can you say that? I am God's unlimited creation. This I affirm, and this I believe.
This I affirm,
And this I believe. My friends, you are indeed God's unlimited creation. I love you. Namaste.
As I said, Reverend John would wow you this morning with spiritual principles. I have so many notes, but anyway, I'll summarize. Prosperity is an attitude. And with the use of the powerful spiritual tools, you can build a consciousness of unlimited wealth. And as you go forward with a certain assurance, you're established in the limitless supply of substance. You become a distributor circulating God's good. And therefore, you are immersed in God's unlimited abundance. And you can declare to the world, I am God's unlimited creation. This I affirm, this I believe, and thus I live.
Amen.
Right? So, thank you, Reverend John, for that. I'm going to ask Reverend John to give us the birthday blessing at this point. So, all you birthday people in virtual cyberspace, please stand up and receive your blessing. And for those in the sanctuary, please show your faces.
Hands up
Thank
those
you.
who are thinking, him forget the assignment. You're lucky. It's your birthday, so before we sing the birthday blessing, I want to give you your assignment. Your assignment is to ponder Elisha's question to the widow with regard to yourself. What do you have in your house? Think about that. What do you have in your consciousness regarding your prosperity? Contemplate it and then write in your journal what you really believe about your own prosperity. In that consciousness, I wish us to sing Happy Birthday.
Angela.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear loved ones. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. Happy birthday to you.
And Reverend John.
And in this consciousness, I include myself as I speak this blessing for those born in the beautiful month of October. Knowing that the living spirit wishing to experience more of its own beauty, its own joy, its own self-givingness, wishing to have distributing centers for its bounty and its abundance, created those of us born in the month of October, beholding us with eyes of absolute love, said, "This is good and very good." And so from the center of our beings to the circumference of our conscious awareness, we live, move, and manifest this life in a victorious state of fulfillment to the honor and glory of God. God is truly glorified in our lives and in our affairs. And I give thanks that this is so. And so it is. Bless you.
Please stand and let us just, the prayer of Jamaica. Do we have you?
Help me welcome our musical item by Janet Morris Henry.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who cross the street will come to bloom to show the way. I believe, I believe. I believe above the storm, the smallest prayer will then be heard. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry or touch a leaf or see the sky, then I know why I believe. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry or touch a leaf or see the sky, then I know why I believe.
Amen.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Angela. Let us say together, I believe. Indeed. And in that consciousness of our belief, can we stand and say together the prayer of Jamaica, which is on a flyer and on your screen. Please stand. Together, the radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And our second hymn, you might as well stay standing, is Living Abundantly.
Living abundantly, living with power, living the truth every day, every hour. Listening to Spirit, our ways revealed, moment by moment, oh Lord, we are healed. Moment by moment, we live in God's light. Moment by moment, we're guided aright. Ever renewed in mind, body, and soul. Moment by moment, oh Lord, we are whole. Proving the law as we do God's good will, proving the promise that faith can fulfill, praying for wisdom in all that we do. Moment by moment, we're one Lord with you. Moment by moment, we live in God's light. Moment by moment, we're guided aright. Ever renewed in mind, body, and soul. Moment by moment, oh Lord, we are whole.
In this consciousness, let us provide the vessels into which the universal substance may be poured. Take your love offerings in your hand. If you're in the sanctuary and if you're online and about to go to donate.templeoflightcsl.org, just put your hand on your heart and say with us, lovingly, I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is. And there you have, replenishing, touching everyone and coming back to replenish. The idea of circulation of the good that we put into the universe, coming back in avalanches of good, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. In this consciousness, I bless all those who have given this morning of their presence in the sanctuary and online. I bless our technical team. I bless our musicians and our musical item. I bless our host, Reverend Ann, and I bless our speaker, Reverend John. I bless, I bless, I bless. And that blessing is in perfect circulation, pouring like the oil into the widow's jars. And I give thanks. I give thanks because I know that we are in the flow and all is well. And so we go from this place, but we stay connected, one with each other, one with God, one with all of life, one with the idea of living abundantly, moment by moment, in the presence and with the power of the divine, invisible, God the good, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and omniactive force, which called us into being and which sustains us now in its abundance, its beauty, and its love forever and ever. I give thanks that this is so, and so it is. And then we'll have our peace song, which we're singing, Yes, There Is Wealth on Earth.
Yes, there is wealth on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is wealth on earth, the wealth that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, wealth begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, my vow. To take each moment and live each moment in wealth eternally. Yes, there is wealth on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
My friends, please join me tomorrow morning for quiet moments in the garden. And on Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our spiritual mind healing service. There's prayer power on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And there is again next Sunday to come together in spiritual community, to hold hands across the spaces between us, to make it holy space, and to bless all of the world and all of creation as we work to make this a world that works for all. If you need to speak with a minister, call 876-289-0907, and Reverend Sonia Davidson is at your call this morning right after the service, 876-289-0907. If you can, stay with us in the sanctuary for our wisdom circle. And thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you bring to life. God loves you, and so do I. Namaste.
There is wealth on earth, the wealth